She was a widow of a well-known and respected priest, so you might think people would not even think about her as a witch and would consider her as being a very religious person. Well, nope, this is not the case. This case is actually, oh my, you just have to listen. This is one of the most and well-documented witch hunt cases in Norway, and I'm sure you're gonna really enjoy this story. Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, this is my first video with my new haircut. This is not a beauty blog, just saying. I think I'm slaying this new haircut. Anyways, welcome to the episode 2 of Lighthouse Halloween Edition. If you missed episode 1, make sure you watch it because it's also about witches of Bergen. This is the topic that I have picked up for this year's Halloween edition. I'm talking about witch hunts. So if you like that topic, or if you're just interested in some paranormal and a little bit like weird stories during this Halloween time, you're very much welcome to watch all of these episodes and also the previous seasons if you skip them. All of them will be listed down in the description box. And before we jump into today's story, I'm again reminding that you're very much welcome to share the stories of witch hunts that happened in your area, whether it's country or city, whatever. I think it would be interesting to read something about if any witch hunts happened in the place where you are living right now. That would give like Halloweenish vibe to the comment section below on this video. Anyways, let's start. Anne Pedersdotter, that's gonna be the lady we're gonna discuss throughout this video. Yes, she's gonna be the alleged witch. She was born during the first half of the 16th century. We do not know the exact date. And in her family, she also had a brother, and brother played quite an important role in regards to her future life. So just a little bit about her surname, Pedersdotter. If you didn't know, then in Scandinavia, this is how they made their surnames. Pedersdotter would mean daughter of Peder. As I already said, her brother played quite an important role in her future life, meaning in the year 1552, Anne got married, and her husband was in fact brother's study mate from Copenhagen. This man was a humanist, he was a writer, he was a lecturer in theology, and he was also a priest. Now, if you watch the episode 1 of Lighthouse Halloween edition of this season 3, then probably you might have an idea who is this guy, because I was already mentioning him there in the first episode. His name was Absalon Pedersen Beyer. Yes, that's the guy who actually ended up writing a Bergen execution book, which included all the executions that took place in Bergen, including in the famous Nordnes gallows, and also all of the witch hunts that happened during the time when he was a priest there. As you already might understand, the married couple lived in Bergen, and in this marriage, Anne gave birth to 8 children. Unfortunately, the survival rate of infants during that time was really low, and only 3 of these 8 children from Anne survived. I suppose life was good for the family because Anne had married a very well-respected man in Bergen. However, in the year 1575, a tragedy happens in the family. Her husband, Absalon Pedersen Beyer, dies. And this is where the shit hits the fan for Anne for real. Actually, problems started even before her husband died. You see, there was like, in my opinion, some kind of fight for the power within the religious institutions, and they needed to find some kind of scapegoat in order to take away Anne's husband, and they found the scapegoat in the person of Anne. Let me explain. You see, while Absalon Pedersen Beyer, the husband, was still alive, people already started rumors about Anne being a witch and accusing her of killing her husband's uncle, whose name was Bishop Gjeble Pedersen. And allegedly, she did it because she wanted her husband to become the next bishop. And to be honest, the game went even deeper once you started to research, because during that time there was kind of like disagreements and disputes happening between the clergy or the religious institutions and the city mayor and the rich people. And since Anne's husband was very well respected priest in Bergen, they wanted to take him away so that probably they can place there someone whom they can manipulate with, or probably get rid of any priests at all. I don't know what was the story behind that. But anyways, they found a way how to make Anne's husband look bad. And they did it by means of accusing and spreading the rumors about Anne being a witch. So the rumors of Anne being a witch, they totally escalated to an extent that people really believe that Anne is a witch. However, her husband, Mr. Bayer, he got an acquittal letter from the king himself saying that Anne is not a witch. So there was an official document for from the person that everyone respects the most. So with that letter, nobody could actually open their mouth and accuse her of being a witch again. Can we just appreciate her husband? I know that he also did it just to save his own reputation, but he also protected his wife. But as I already said, at the end, her husband dies and Anna is left as a priest's widow in a very vulnerable state, probably like grieving a lot. But she got a lot of privileges because of her marriage. You see, she was now under the protection of king, and this meant that she was able to choose wherever in Norway she wants to live, and also she didn't have to pay taxes. So she chose to stay in Bergen. I think that was a huge mistake. Because you see, the rumors about her being a witch started again. And people, they were whispering and accusing her on the streets. And the thing is that Anne, she didn't have a very strong character, and she was in most cases shouting back, cursing and saying really bad things back to those people who accused her of being a witch. People are actually a little bit like pigs or so, because if you remember, she just lost her husband. She most probably was grieving, and we don't know about her personality. Where maybe she was a very introvert person and she just wanted to be like left alone for a while. But no, they were harassing her, attacking her with their accusations, and probably she was not an emotionally stable person also. And this is why she always said something back, and whatever she said back played not in favor to her. So I think people were also using these traits of her just to continue this harassment, which is like tragic in my opinion, because I do not believe that she's a witch. I mean, she was married to a priest at the end. Nowadays, when a person just wants to sit at home and grieve or is simply introvert, we try to respect them. Those days, no. You're a witch. You're a witch. We should accuse you of being a witch and probably just burn you down on the stake. So in the year 1590, the accusations got very serious and Anne was put on trial as being a witch. So she was accused by a mustache cutter. His name was Adrian van Boskot, and well, he had quite a weird reason. You see, the mustache cutter's son was romantically involved with Anne's daughter. In fact, he had already proposed and wanted to marry her. He wasn't very happy about this choice, but the son didn't listen to him, so he got very angry. And what he did, he went to court and said that his son is about to marry Anne's daughter, and he accuses Anne of being a witch, and the court has to do something about that because he doesn't want a witch involved in his family. And I guess this was a way how he wanted to prevent his son to marry Anne's daughter, like very weird way. And also he kind of totally destroyed Anne's family and Anne's reputation. You will see, just listen. So in March 1590, the first court hearing happened, and because Anne was sick, her son Absalonsson was there to kind of represent her. In the court, everyone wanted Anne to be imprisoned, and we all know what it means. It usually means torture and making sure that the witch confesses. And of course, the son who was representing Anne in that court was against it, and he was referring to the official letter from the king who acquitted her of being a witch. They said that it's not useful, and you know why? Because it refers to the past time. These accusations are happening right now, so this letter from the king acquitting her of being a witch, it's not valid in regards to this case. So they figured out how to still accuse her and make all of these accusations valid. At the end, Anne was indeed imprisoned in the town's cellar, and people from all around the town were coming and giving their testimonies about the bad things that this witch had done to them. So among those accusations was that she had killed at least 6 people, including a child, by just sending a disease on them or poisoning them from distance. I don't know how. Like something like really stupid that you cannot like practically prove. And also some of the accusations were so stupid as like, oh my God, she killed my pear tree in the garden. And I think the most personal and most painful thing for Anne and also for her family was particularly one witness, and it was her housemaid named Elena. And this Elena came out with stories like, girl, you got some imagination. This Elena said that Anne was using her as a riding horse whenever she had to like go to her witch conventions that usually happened in one of the mountains of Bergen. In most cases, it was the mountain of Lidahorn or Fløyen. Just a little side note about this mountain called Lidahorn. I haven't climbed there and I didn't have like a hike there. Probably I should look into it because I have read that that was the most popular mountain where the Bergen's witches allegedly quite often met to do their witchcraft and witch things. I don't know. And this is no lie. I actually heard some stories from the locals here living in Bergen that people are aware of that. And I don't know if he was trying to just scare me, but he said like, you know, when it's like quite dark late in the evening and foggy, because you know, this is a rainy city, so we have also fog a lot. Like you can see somebody there and then it disappears. You know, it's like quite interesting. Probably I should go there. Just for the sake of interest, you know. Now back to Anne. So according to Elena, Anne was riding her up in the sky for 3 Christmases in a row when she was going to one of these like witch conventions on Lidahorn. And of course, when she got there as a riding horse, she also stayed there. So she got to hear what these witches were doing there and what they were about to do. And what she heard was that these witches of Bergen were planning to send huge natural and other evil disasters to the city of Bergen. As I already told you, Elena, the housemaid, has a very vivid imagination. And you might be asking, after all of this story, did Bergen actually experience some kind of natural disaster? Like, that would explain that her story is valid, that the witches literally sent some kind of disaster on the city. Well, she also had a really nice reply to that. And I mean, her imagination. So she said that the city was saved by a white angel that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And this angel took all of these evil things that the witches created and just put them into one little thunderstorm instead of all of this disaster that was about to happen. And the city citizens heard only a thunder, and nothing bad at the end happened. Thanks to this angel. I don't have any words. And they actually ate this shit as truth. Anna in the court interrogations defended herself very well, giving logical explanations and also some reasonable replies. And when they accused her of one of the grossest things that she allegedly did, namely killing a child, she said that, I quote, "Many children die in the city. I have not killed them all." So we can agree that this reply is not really like a certain no. Like, she should have said, no, I didn't kill that child. She said like, I didn't kill them all. It's a little bit weird, I do agree, but then we should also remember that she was actually very bad in communication. Like, all the neighbors and friends and everyone said that, you know, like she was a little bit weird when she was talking, like sharp and sometimes shouting and even cursing. But that doesn't make you a witch. Anne was not alone in this court. Of course, with her, there were her 3 children and also a couple of priests who were on her side, and namely Towns priest Magister Hans Jorgensen and Jens Christiansen Dahl. And a side note again, and random interesting fact, this Jens Christiansen was a son of Christian Jensen Schriffer, a priest who had started the town fire in 1582. Bergen had its fair share of burns and burning down, so one of them was the burn of a certain area called Strandsiden, and he forgot to take off his candle, and as a result a large part of Bergen was burned down, including his own children, who died in the fire. So those priests who defended Anne, among those there was a guy whose father once burned down Bergen. I guess he was not the best person to defend Anne, because if they were like believing in angel things and stuff, flying on other person's backs, then probably they would sooner or later pick up the story of, yeah, you're defending Anne, but your father burned down Bergen, so I don't think if both of those priests were really good defenders to Anne. And so sadly at the end, Anne was sentenced to death, and really they pronounced her as being a witch. This decision was signed by 37 seals from the city's elite. Among those were also the people who were, remember at the beginning I told you they were like in arguments with the clergymen of the city. So I think it was also a bit about the politics, not a bit, actually quite a lot. After this sentence, Anne was repeatedly shouting out that she's innocent, but nobody cared. So this lady, who probably was just like very sad about her husband's death, and probably she was introvert and probably a little bit different than the other people, like she wasn't so much into socializing, she became a target and also part of a political game. And so on the April 7th, 1590, she was burnt on the stake in Nordnes gallows. The gallows that I already mentioned and told you about in the episode 1 of Lighthouse Halloween Edition. This case of Anne Pedersdotter and her being a witch is mentioned in many historical documents of Bergen. And as I mentioned, this was also part of the fight between city's elite and clergy, and after Anne's death, this escalated and continued. But apart from that, her death and her allegedly being a witch, well, officially now, also put a disgrace on the family name. And remember, Anne had 3 children. In the year 1596, 6 years after Anne was burned down on the stake in Nordnes gallows, her children finally forced the Supreme Court to reopen the case and look into the evidences again, because they wanted to like clear their family name so that I guess they can also live more peacefully. But the Supreme Court upheld the verdict, meaning they agreed to the previous ruling, and this means that in the face of law, Anne Pedersdotter still was a witch, and 3 of the children still had to carry her family name and also all of the disgrace that came with that. In fact, this verdict a year after, in 1596, started a big witch hunt in Norway, because this meant that everybody could accuse everybody. Like, you know, oh, my neighbor, she just looks weird, she might be a witch, let's accuse her. So this thing started. It was like a snowball, because now in the eyes of the law, you can literally do that and get through with it. And somebody that you just simply don't like can be burnt down on the stake. But the family and the ancestors of Anne still lived and still were determined to clear their family name. And so the daughter of Anne, Cecilian, wrote an official letter and was determined to go to Copenhagen to meet King Christian IV and give this official letter to him and ask him to clear their family name. In this letter to the king, Cecilian said that she knows that the sheriff of Bergen actually had an old hatred towards Anne and that he was the one who forced the court to make the decision and announce that her mother is a witch. And she asked to overturn this ruling of the court and bring back the good reputation of her family name. The king didn't ignore. In fact, he replied in the year 1598, and in this letter he said that he is not planning to overturn the ruling of the court and he will not compensate to the family. And with this, the story ends, except for the fact that the story of mistreatment of a lady and the whole family still continues to live in the legends of Bergen. On June 26th, year 2002, a memorial stone was opened in the place where Anne Pedersdotter was burned down in Nordnes. This is a memorial stone also to commemorate all the other witches that were burnt in that place. And on that opening day, the ceremony, the 13th generation descendant of Anne was also participating. He is in fact an important figure in Bergen since he established what is now known as the oldest bookshop not only in Bergen but in Norway. It happened in the year 1771. The original Bayers do not own it anymore, but it still has its name. Now it's called Ark Bayer, Ark being one of the most famous bookstore chains in Norway, and they took it over. In fact, I have passed the shop for several times. It's in Strandgaten. And this is it. This is the sad story of Anne Pedersdotter and the witch trial that, in my opinion, was very far from fair. And I'm just happy to see that the descendants in the following generations still managed to find their place in the city, to live there, to thrive there, make a career. I mean, the bookstore. I'm just wondering, why did they decide to stay here in Bergen, considering the past? That would be very interesting to ask to any of them, like, who are still alive and who are descendants of Anne. So here it is. What is your opinion about today's story? What do you think? Was Anne indeed a witch? Is there like a chance? Like, even the letter from the king that her husband, the priest, got, it doesn't mean that she's not a witch. It's just a letter from the king. And probably there is also a chance, I can say like that, that maybe the priest discovered that she's a witch during the time when they were married and he just had to protect her because he had to protect also his reputation, if you know what I mean. And so with this, I'm closing my Lighthouse Halloween edition on my channel. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, make sure you also watch the first episode and the rest of the seasons if you haven't watched them. Anyways, guys, it's time to wrap up and say goodbye to you. I hope you have a lovely day. Share this video with anyone who would also be interested in hearing this story or any other stories that are on my channel. Subscribe if you haven't. Press the notification bell in order not to skip my future stories, and see you next time.